are you with us? You're on mute. Hey there.
Yep, just wait until my mic picked up.
Oh, okay. Would you mind sitting at the table with the others?
Sure.
There's a seat that's still facing forward.
Okay.
Thanks, Stephen. I like it nice and cozy.
Me too.
Hi, all.
Stephen, have you met Andy before?
Forget. I think we have. I know the
Andy's
name.
in tech support.
It's probably how we've met.
Yeah.
But they're gonna shout out in a minute or two here to get started.
Hello. Okay, we're a few minutes from getting started, but the live stream has started, so we're doing a little bit of an audio check to the live stream.
Do you have a question, Dana?
We'll wrap up that demo. All right, we got some time. We got like 2 minutes.
And
Bella, there we go.
Matt, it's a little too faint now. Can't hear you very much.
All right, how about now? A little bit better?
That's great. Thank you.
Excellent. Are you able to hear things on the live stream? We are good. Okay, so I'll start outside the script. Huh? No, not yet. Give me 2 seconds. Then we'll officially kick it. So hi everybody, welcome. Go ahead, Tom, if you want to start recording. Real quick, show of hands, who's never been here before? Who's never been to one of these events before?
You can raise your hand here in Verbella using the raise hand function if you want to.
Okay, Tom, we started? Okay, so welcome. This is the next evolution. So this is the next evolution. Tonight we are here to talk about architecture and construction. We do have a panel talking about architecture and construction with our panel of experts. Awesome. For reference, so these are a panel of experts who you'll be hearing from tonight. Some of them are here virtually in Verbella, which you can see. We do this event.
Sorry, I've let Matt know that his audio is cutting out some.
I can hear you, Caroline. Thank you. I'll keep trying to talk into the microphone. Sorry about that. Actually, let me reset my audio in Verbella. Go. So it takes place in a virtual venue as well. You can hear them, they can hear us, they can see you, you can see them. And beyond that, I'll We're also streaming live to YouTube on AWE. My name is Matt Wren. I'm the founder of VRAR Chicago and the Next Step started back in 2017. My passions and expertise span a lot of emerging technology, and if you'd like to know out to me, or just come on up and talk a lot more about myself. Problems there. But this is the next evolution. It is also AWE Nite Chicago. This event series is now and always will be. It is not used, so we are always very welcoming of anybody who is actually willing to pay for a ticket. That's obviously free to register, but we do sell tickets as well, or you can use the QR to donate event series. Well, that said, we are also AWE Nite Chicago. Show of hands, who's familiar with Augmented World Expo? Great. So Augmented World Expo, the next evolution is AWE Nite Chicago. There's 30 AWE Nites that world. Augmented World Expo is a global. It's a great event and it's well to attend. We also want to talk about AWE Academy for the XR community. There's a fun where they work with you to refine your product, market, and business strategies. Course on where they are that is now recorded. Check out awexr.com. I also want to thank our venue sponsors. Those of you who've not been here, this is Chicago's Technology. There's, I think, 400 and some companies, but they have the co-working spaces. They have a lot of resources. Investor community connection with development communities and universities. But they couldn't do that this month. That's what I can say. At this point, I also want to introduce our virtual host, Caroline Dennis. Caroline, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Matt. Thank you so much. I'm your virtual host, Caroline Dennis. It's great to be here tonight. I'm with 2 Degrees, and in my work, I work at the intersection of immersive technologies and Web3. I'm passionate about data sovereignty, dignity preserving technologies, health equity, social well-being, and that drives my work with global communities, really to celebrate the power and the fusion of people, tech, and science for the planet and human health. In addition to VRAR, I'm involved with XR Women and in a community called Symphony, which is a global incubator for building inclusive, sustainable, smart cities. Next, I wanted to introduce our partner of ours, which I'm very involved in, as I said, XR Women. XR Women is a collaborative community of over 700 women from over 60 countries. We're passionate about becoming industry leaders of accessibility, inclusivity, and empowering women to take their place in the XR and immersive technology. On Wednesday of every week, we host programs with panels, speakers, workshops, and as of today, we held our 157th event over the last 3 years. So we're really trying to shape the future of immersive tech, and we feel strongly that this is a movement and it's something that our whole community can get behind. So that is XR Women. So our virtual guest here, Dana, Shamesh, and I, and we have guests here in our virtual environment called Verbella. And this open campus is here, and we're excited because it gives us the opportunity to meet from all over the world and to be able to have this event with all of you who are in person at the very same time. And we'd now like to introduce someone from Verbella. Maybe Michael, if you'd like to come up to the front and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about our fabulous partner and sponsor, Verbella.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. So glad to have you here, even if you're coming through a screen. would love to have you here immersively at some point. But yeah, we're happy and so pleased to have VR Chicago. We've been partners with them for actually years, as far back as I can remember, maybe 2020. But anyway, please someday come in and view our campus, and you're welcome. We're open 365 days a week, 24/7. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Michael. Okay, Matt, back to you.
Very much. So in addition to our sponsors, we also have a number of community partners that support these events, namely 2 Degrees, Independent Game Developers Association of Chicago, 2112 Chicago, Patched Reality, thank you for providing, and Envision. And the other thing with Vanity, we actually want to bring up that we want you to collect an NFT. So if you see the QR code on the screen right now, I will put it up again later too, so if you don't get through that, those in Verbella and those who are watching on the live stream, you can only collect this NFT tomorrow that it is shut down. What we are doing with the NFT is every year we do a giveaway. The tickets to get a giveaway is collection of the NFT. Jay, do you want to raise your hand? Welcome to our winner from last year who just won a Quest 3. Collected enough NFTs and he got the random draw. Worked out that he's in there. He hasn't got it yet. But he was our winner from last year and he's in the room, so I'll call him out. But that's what we are doing with the NFT. Talking for a while to keep the code up so you guys have it. You have to download the app. We have an NFT wallet. I'll put the QR code up well in case you didn't. But it'll be available and you can collect it today and tomorrow after that. All right, but with that, let's get to the introduction of our topic. We do the drawing in December, but our topic, and I was going to actually toss it back over to Caroline to introduce our industry. There, Caroline, you ready to go?
Absolutely. Just hold on. Let me just grab my camera again. Okay. So tonight we're excited that you're here. We're going to explore the relationship between immersive technologies like augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality, and the architecture and construction industry. How are some of these technologies being used, and what are some of the transformative impacts they can have for cities and communities at large? And what are some of the challenges and opportunities as we continue to adapt to these new innovations? As with many of our programs at the Next Evolution, we really aim to engage in healthy discussion between people in and outside of the immersive technology industry. We also kind of challenge you to think about how these use cases that are popular in construction and architecture might be things that might be touched on during this session, like project planning, construction site layout, worker safety training, and client engagement. But we hope that you think about these ideas as we see AI and internet infrastructure and hardware and software as it continues to mature. So we hope you enjoy tonight's program. Okay, back to you, Matt.
All right, thank you very much. So give me 1 second. I was texting. So Doug Snyder, our first presenter. These are our presenters for the evening. Doug Snyder is our first presenter. He is an architect who's been physically and virtually designing and documenting the build environment for nearly. Currently the director of virtual design. He's currently the director of virtual design and construction for Leonardo, a mid-sized general contractor. So we're actually doing a new layout on the stage. Normally, grab a microphone. Please talk directly into the microphone because our audio is having trouble. Which also means it's so I just
I started working in art. Where I created a lot of representation. Now I'm in construction, where
Excuse me, David, Matt, is there any audio coming back on over there for this side? We've lost all audio. Strange, as those who've been here before, we actually haven't quite had the cutting out like we have this evening, whatever reason.
working on resetting.
Working on resetting that. For your patience. We handle the impossible, right?
That's normally pretty good. Most of the meetings have been any
I
real
know
problems.
it is. It is. Yes. Yes, it is. And they do actually spend quite a bit of time before the whole thing starts because I know they're really diligent about testing it out. There's a lot that goes into this particular implementation. So, yeah.
Maybe they're low on audio fluid. They just got to top it off.
Yeah, there you go. Like
Yeah.
the gas tank. I don't know if anybody's done this before with other audio challenges, but I did this the other day with someone and we just used the good old telephone, put it on speaker, put it in front of a mic, and did a workaround, which I just suggested. I'm not sure if that'll work, but here we go. Got Matt on the scene, Matt on the Verbella scene. Thank you again for everyone's patience.
Sorry, I'm checking to see if we actually get audio into the room. Can you hear us, Caroline?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
Good. Is that a yes? Was it a yes? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Take two. All right. So as I was saying, archaeology, anthropology, architecture, and then about 6 years ago, I moved over to the dark side of construction, where I help develop processes and technologies around those architectural models to help us build buildings more efficiently.
You could up that
So I'd
audio
like to
just
talk
a little
little
bit.
about
Thank you.
BIM. So for the non-architects in the audience, this is a much bigger thing than I think people are aware of. And building information modeling 20-ish years ago, a little bit more. There was this huge paradigm shift in architecture. Does anybody know what this is? That is wall. Exactly. Those two lines for the last thousands and thousands of years have represented a wall. If it was on a clay tablet or in CAD, that was a wall. Then BIM came around, and now we can design. So we create a 3D representation of a wall, and we add all of the attributes necessary to build that wall into that 3D object. So the height, the type of materials, the paint, everything goes into that object. And that was a huge difference because now the thing that we're creating lives in 3D, and the major foundational tool we're using to create it also lives in 3D. And that's a huge paradigm shift that we can leverage as we're moving into the spatial computing platforms. And so a building is more, the whole is more than the sum of its parts. And that difference, that delta, is qualia, which is all of those intangible things that are what it feels like to be in space. And designers should care about it, because that is, we design buildings for people, and that is the people part of the building. After the functional requirements and all that are taken care of, it's the qualia that we should be looking towards. And so one thing that excites me in the future is that's difficult to get to. It takes a lot of effort. It's a huge challenge to get to that level of understanding of the building. And so so back to this. It takes a lot of work to get from this, which is just kind of standard out of the box BIM, to something that we can do. So I'm excited about these new technologies that are coming out, generative AI and NERFs, that will allow us to get from this 3D platform to kind of a quality of conversation in 3D. So as a quick example, here's some free renderings of that exact same BIM model. All I did was put that BIM model into this piece of software. 3 minutes later, I had these. So very quickly, we're able to start seeing how we can kind of take our foundation and build structure. And we take the architect models that they build, and we turn those into construction models. So we create one-to-one replication. There we go. Of the building. And that one-to-one is super important because now we have all these digital assets that represent the real world in the same space, in the same representative space. And so once we get to this point, we can start looking at reality versus planned, reality versus put in place. This is side by side. So on the left, we have the building that's been built. On the right, we have what is going to be built. That digital representation has all of that information that came from that BIM model. So that's transferring over as well. And now if that digital asset lives in the same place as that real asset, all of that information now transfers to that real asset. So it's it really is just this kind of block as we move into some of these new technologies like here we're looking at on the left all those little dots as reality capture. So we went out and captured reality for the physical world, and we put that in the digital world, and we plan around it. Then we can take that digital world, bring it back into the physical world using the device on the left, which is the total stage, or on the right, total station. So now we bring that digital world back into the physical world. But there's a translation error that can happen there. There's time and effort that we can skip by going to some of these new technologies. these new technologies have a lot of challenges in your AR, either tablet-based or headset-based. A lot of challenges around those. We're not there yet, but that's what we're getting into in the background. So, thank you. Those are some of the things that informed the way I'm getting about this.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Or Doug, sorry. Thank you, Doug. It's that kind of day. We'll get to questions and answers after all the speakers have given their introduction. We changed the format a little bit. We know normally we kind of do a little bit of a discussion right after. We're changing it up. We're going to do the discussion after all the presenters have gone. But up next, I'm going to toss it over to Caroline so she can introduce Dana. Caroline, you got it?
Yes, I'm thrilled that Dana could be joining us this evening, and she actually just showed her company in the XR Women Immersive Business Showcase. And Dana Reshaping, she is a Brooklyn-based architect and planner with expertise in zoning and infill development. She's a former F-15 flight simulator trainer. Yeah. She's founder and CEO of In Situ and a mother of 3 kids and a dog, and has so much more in her background, but I'm going to let her tell you all about that. Welcome, Dana. Thank you so much. And if you want to go ahead and turn your camera on, you can go right ahead. Let me know if you need help.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Not sure I could do that. You taught me before. Let's see. Okay. Yay, I'm here. Hello. Okay.
And if you want to just turn and put the middle cursor on the middle so you can watch your slides.
Right.
Excellent.
Now we're good. Okay.
Terrific.
So hi.
If you want to stand a little bit closer to me, that would be great. Thank you.
Do that.
As we do the back up and turn around.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Hello. Okay, I'm still here, right, with the camera. Okay, cool. So great to be here, and thank you, Caroline. It was great for us to present last week at the business showcase. Already gathered some awesome leads from there. So as Caroline said, I'm Dana. I'm calling in from Brooklyn tonight. I'm originally from Israel, Tel Aviv. Studied architecture in Tel Aviv University and worked there as an architect for 6 years in the city center of Tel Aviv, mostly on mixed-use development, housing policies, infill development in the center of Tel Aviv. I moved to New York in 2017 to study urban data science in NYU, CASP, Center for Urban Science and Progress. And my motivation in doing that was that I was always very frustrated as an architect from how archaic or limited were our tools to effectively communicate, mostly to communicate our visions. I felt that we have a lot of tools and expertise and skills as planners, architects, designers, policymakers to really plan good projects and good neighborhoods and kind of like plan for inclusive and sustainable future. But the time after time, we fail to communicate those projects, and we take so much information, into our decision making. But then when we come to this planning hearing or to this client to present to them, or to the residents to show them what we're trying to make, or to the city agency, again, like it's hard to communicate to people what we're trying to do. Coming from immersive technologies, and as Caroline said, I studied architecture after 3 years in the Israeli Air Force. That was my mandatory military service. Spent 3 years in the cockpit of an F-15 training pilots on in-flight malfunctions. So it was very natural to me to think about communicating and training people or educating people in a more immersive way with our bodies and minds, right? I don't know if I knew to call it augmented reality back then, but I had a clear vision of it can't be that our bodies can effectively translate built environment. Like we don't need to be an expert to understand to feel the difference between Midtown Manhattan or a rural Illinois community. But then trying to communicate the future of projects of planning, again, we fail or we have drawings, zoning maps, or the best case scenarios, Photoshop renderings. And I was like, why can't we just walk down the street and raise our phone and see a superimposed visualization of the future of our cities? That's the base of In-Situ. It took moving to New York, graduating here, doing an internship in the Department of City Planning, New York, for a few months. And as Caroline said, a few pregnancies and kiddos. But eventually, at the end of 2020, mid-COVID, I founded In-Situ here in New York, the company that's on the mission to really bring future cities to life and foster greater collaboration around urban planning, city planning, thanks to the unique capabilities of or qualities of augmented reality.
Excuse me, Dana, did you want us to forward the slides, or are you good for that?
No,
Okay.
yeah, we can. So first, In-Situ means in its natural place. That's how I believe we should all be able to communicate and to experience urban change. You can move to the next slide. We're on the mission to bring future cities to life through AR to foster better collaboration around urban change. Next slide. The problem, well, you know, we architects, planners, policymakers have so much to deal with in the 21st century, trying to really navigate our cities to be able to house, dwell 2.5 billion more people than today, to tackle climate change, gentrification, housing affordability, geopolitics, all those problems planning, zoning can tackle. And unfortunately, it's really hard, again, to engage people and the right people into the process in order to get strong alignment between the different stakeholders of cities. Next, please. So In-Situ, and I'm sorry, we have GIFs in this presentation, but I was informed that GIFs do not work. So that's supposed to be a GIF there. But we are communicating planning or empowering our clients to communicate planning In-Situ. We take design planning information and just turn it to location-based, mobile-based augmented reality that can be viewed on-site and remote at the building, neighborhood, infrastructure, city level. Next. We work with directly with architecture, engineering, construction companies from the very early stages of design, working directly with city governments to turn all of their open data about permits, about land use applications to be AR ready, what we called, or basically to be ready to enjoy the qualities of spatial computing and 3D. We work directly with developers as well to kind of like hand by hand walk them through better engagement to high profile projects that public feedback is mandatory. And we also work with other technology companies through an API of our data or to embed our tools in other 3D mapping related products. Next. Why AR? I guess that's an audience that I don't need to convince here, but it's compared to VR, I think that the quality of AR and especially mobile AR, at least today, is how accessible and intuitive it is. Like you don't need me or anyone to tell people how to scan a QR code and look through their camera. And we saw time after time that it's really empowering for people compared to coming to a planning hearing, community meeting, and seeing another PDF, another presentation of renderings or just maps and building codes, suddenly to hold their own phone and be able to walk around a site and actually see projects as if they're built, it's really giving them a sense of agency and pretty much automatically engages them into the process. Most importantly, through AR, we have the power to meet people where they are, whether they're on the street and they see a QR code near a construction site or even near something that it's not yet a construction site. And suddenly they can know, they can be empowered by this information that something is coming up near them. And even if they're remote, so every QR of ours directly leads you user to either the on-site view if you're near the site and can see it in your eyes, or to the remote view, which is like technically a more simple AR. It's not location-based, it's just, like a tabletop augmented reality of the model. As said, one of our most important things is to actually meet people where they are, make it accessible to them, like bringing city planning from City Hall to people's fingertips. And therefore, for every project, we make sure that it's visible and accessible, because I think the challenge with AR is that unless you made this step of scanning or looking through your phone, you don't know that it's there. So we make sure that everything is very visible and highly accessible. Next. So how it works, a summary, our data sources are either large subsets of information about permits, land use applications, zonings that we integrate into the platform to extract their 3D component and create a 3D representation of those records, or directly when we get 3D models from clients, we can easily replace or embed them into the platform. And then automatically it's delivered to the channels and clients through the native AR, the web map, the on-site signage, and the different APIs. Next.
I think we have enough room for another little bit here.
Let's
Thank
run
you so much, Dana.
It's also, yeah, just one thing. Let's run to the working with cities, because I think that's important, and especially Chicago. Yeah. So if you can click, I believe, 2 or 3 slides. The way we work with cities is that we really care about not just becoming the new visualization tool of the future, but truly kind of embedding this idea of seeing things in AR into the process. So every market, every city that we're going to, we're starting with the city, establishing the baseline of integrating projects from open data and the applicants and private sector into the process. Chicago is going to be our second AR-ready city. So we started this campaign. You can click through as I speak. We started a campaign of reviewing cities' open data and if it's ready to AR. This is our Charleston pilot, and the other one is DC. You can go down. And we basically identified the 10 most ready to AR cities in the US. Last week, we highlighted Boston. And post this event tomorrow, we will share our Chicago map. And most importantly, we see here talking about impact, how we truly broadening participation, making access to this information much more inclusive, democratize this information. And thanks to that, leading or fostering more positive conversation. We can end here. I have more.
Fabulous.
The why. And
fabulous.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, Dana. And we will, again, we're going to discuss more of these things after our next speaker. Back to you, Matt.
I'm closing this, right?
Thank you. I'm going to keep rolling through the presentation real quick just so that people can capture them. And up next, we have Tom Livings. So Tom owns and operates 2 3D companies in Chicago, Studio In-House and Flight FX. He has over 20 years experience in 3D technology for the architecture, product, gaming, and automotive sectors. And I know Tom just told you, and I'm going to tell you again, please mute the microphone so that they can hear us in Pravella and on the live stream, because apparently they're having some audio issues today. Oh, good? Yep, straight into the mic. Keep talking loud, please.
Okay. So it seems like there is what the other 2 people walked away from, which was Doug was in 3D rendering, I think, and Dana was in flight simulation. So I'm in both of those 2. So because that means that I'm the least smart with the 3D printer. So Studio In-House is an architectural rendering studio in Chicago. And we've got some of the portfolio up there. And yeah, this is some of the team. This is typically the kind of thing I'm looking at all day. Renderings and retouching renderings, animations and such. So yeah, we've been around about 15 years. We don't just do architectural stuff, we do all manner of 3D. Over the last 15 years, it's been automated, pharmaceutical, anything that's 3D, we pretty much do that. So animation, imagery, and tools, I'd say tools is the most relevant thing here because it's everything that really meets the definition of VR and AR. Typically, we have like 3 methods, I'd say, of doing these tools, which is either panoramic, which is as old as the hills. It's maybe 30 years old. Just being inside a sphere, you have to navigate inside that sphere. And one gives the illusion of experiencing the environment. I think they're really valuable because they work anywhere. They haven't really been replaced, I don't think, by any of the other technologies. So we also deploy things like Unreal Engine and Unreal Engine tools and VR have delivery issues, but they look amazing. They're so real and vibrant, and they can kind of, it's video games. You know, the video games are, that's kind of consumer level. It's easy to put together, but yeah, it has delivery issues. The other one to mention would be 3D Vista, which is historically a panoramic-based platform, but they now bring all those tools into the 3D platform. So we've delivered a couple of those, and easy. They take a lot of the problems that we have with picture streaming. There's no delivering a huge package. It's just open one browser. So that's Studio In-House. Wireflex, making airports and aircraft for Microsoft Flight Simulator is a lot of fun. It's really, really hard work. Very technical. And the interesting thing about it is the Black Shark AI. And if anybody's ever heard of it, it's pretty cool. It's AI building the whole world. So it's pulling thing maps and then just building the entire planet and kind of simulation. And that has connotations for everything. If you can take base imagery and build something that big and that accurate, then that's quite far-reaching. So yeah, my view on the future of the industry, I'm able to go in here and oh yeah, so it's just an animation, it's one of our projects. So yeah, sure. I'm not a big fan of VR. I find it constrictive and there's a lot of roadblocks, I think with the hardware, with the heat and the resolution, the weight. I haven't seen this yet. Maybe that's a game changer, we'll see. Augmented reality, I think is a wonderful thing. It takes the world around you and makes it interactive and better. It doesn't remove you from the content. So for me, I know it's not a race and they have individual use cases on either side, but if you were going to put them side by side, AR is definitely a more forward-looking tool. A good example would be we have a Vive at home, and my kid played with it for about 2 weeks, and then he's like, yeah, I'm done. And I think the AR tools, because they take you outside, they take you on site, they take you everywhere. I think that's a healthy future. Yeah, so that's pretty much all.
Okay, thanks, Tom. All right, so we are getting the word at this point that I think we may actually have to split the program. I'm going to wait and see, Tom. Yeah. The live stream is going to be for Bella. All right, hang on one second. I'm going to talk with Tom. So, while we're figuring this out, because the issue is basically Virbella is not picking up the audio from this room, which also means that the audio into the live stream is not going really well. So what I'm probably going to try to do in about 2 seconds here is reconfigure the audio to come from the room and split Virbella off, and Caroline and Dana can talk there. But I'm going to see if we can fix audio issues at least to the live stream. I can't fix what's going on to get the audio into Virbella right now. It's Virbella software. I'm looking at it. Nothing I can do about that. So give me a few seconds while I step away from the stage to try and reconfigure audio.
And maybe you could mute us so that we can chat while you're doing that.
Problem is you'll get that kind of feedback. Yes. All right, so give me a few seconds. I'm going to reconfigure the audio in the room. This will take just a couple of seconds. And then we'll get to the Q&A portion. In the meantime, Doug and Tom, if you guys come back up to the stage, grab your microphones. I'll be set in just a second. Let me see what I can do over here. So I'm going to test audio now. Are you hearing this coming through the live stream at all?
Yes, it's still choppy, but yes, we hear you.
Talking to the microphone, please.
We do hear you. You do speaking to me.
Platforms to support that.
All right, so I'm going to remind you guys, please, literally eat the microphone. Okay, they got to hear you. All right, but if we're loud enough, it should be going in, and we don't have to split the program at this point. So we're going to try this a little bit longer, and we're going to try and kick to conversation. Give me a few seconds. Sorry, hang on a second. We'll get to audience Q&A. I'm going to actually have, in a few seconds, I'm going to have this guy Garrett here. He's going to be running around with a microphone, and we'll be able to actually do some live Q&A up here. So give me a few seconds. Caroline, do you want to throw the first question out, please?
Sure. I'd like to actually ask that question of Dana. As a frequent lecturer on cities lecture, where do you see the most significant opportunities for the integration of AR and urban development, and how can it contribute to creating smarter and more sustainable cities? Thanks.
Thank you, Caroline. I think that today more than ever, it's quite obvious to everybody that we are going to pretty soon to interact with our surroundings with more graphic information, more visual information through immersive technologies. And as many of us are living in cities, and the built environment is our canvas, let's say. It's all become canvas, right? So I think today, even the most conservative either real estate developers or city officials, that this is where the world is going to. And now there is an incentive for them to not stay behind and to try to embed those technologies. Now, I think another opportunity here is that cities already have, most of them have open data. So the movement of open data succeeded tremendously about a decade ago to get this information to cities. But I think we haven't yet scratched the surface of what can be done with this data. So now that both AI and AR, XR are becoming more and more ubiquitous and just better, we can actually, I guess, deliver on the promises of this open data. And then to your question, how this can promote or establish more inclusive communities, processes, cities, is that naturally the people who can scan a QR code or see something through their eyes are many more than those who have time and understanding and skills to attend the planning hearing. And eventually, yes, city planning is open to the public, right? Most things are, it is democratized, right? I used to say like Institute democratizes city planning, so not for real because it is open, but it's not really useful in the way that it's open today. The current processes are designed for a very specific cohort, usually the older cohort, and there's a generational gap. And I think today, most of us expect to get information much faster and react much faster, and immersive technologies can do that.
Incredible. Yeah, I think there's so much there. All right. Well, let me turn that back to you, Matt.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw the first question over to Tom here, just because we talked a lot about industry stuff, we talked a lot of this, but this is gonna be a more general question for you. As someone who's witnessed the evolution of AR and VR in the visualization industry, what advice would you offer to individuals, both newcomers, like some of the people we have in the audience here, and those familiar with the technology who are looking to leverage the tools into their own architectural and visualization endeavors?
It's a massive subject, and most 3D technologies boil down to some of the fundamentals that underpin all 3D technology. So understanding camera, we were just talking about how camera tracking works. Camera tracking is integral to everything that we are. So content, and you need to know content. So Blender is free. I would absolutely recommend getting into Blender. It's going to overtake all the other programs because it's free. Powerful as maybe not no, that's definitely a place to go. As far as engines, so rendering engines, I would say definitely look at Unreal Engine because it's also free. All the old ray tracers are going to fall by the wayside. But these are the tools to be used. Looking forward, right now, in the 3D Studio Max and forever. But lots of stuff, doing the deployment, and you end up building your own prison, you know? Essentially, you make all your assets, you get a pipeline. Microsoft is a client against. There's a variety of tools out there. The thing what I love doing is making something beautiful. That's what drives you to do it. Everyone's up and
Okay. Need to pass. I don't think it's the microphone. I think it's how I'm holding it and speaking to it. But that's fine. So Doug, how has Leopardo incorporated augmented reality and virtual reality into its construction projects? What benefits have you seen in terms of reducing rework or increasing overall efficiency?
Great question. So AR, VR, the VR side is a little bit harder in construction. It doesn't have the same value as AR does for a construction project. So we tend to do, or at least lean more towards AR, but I'll talk about that in a second. In terms of VR, we have had the opportunity to work with clients where I was talking earlier about we did 2 stories of the Sears Tower for a client, and they wanted their come back and be excited about the office. And so they wanted them to come back and see where their desk was going to be, where they were going to eat, the view that they would have moving to this new space. And so we did put that in VR. We did take that up to the office where they could walk around and see what the view is going to be like from their desk. And so we have had opportunities to do that, working with our design partners. And then on the AR side, like I was saying before, once we have that one-to-one model and we can overlay that with reality, that's where things really get exciting. Like I was saying, we take that digital model and we need to bring that back out to reality. We just spent lots of money and time planning that building that building digitally. Now we need to go build that building in the real world. We need that digital asset back out into the real world. How do we do that? So right now we'll do things like use a total station where we say, okay, here's the corner of that wall on a tablet. Show me where it is in the real world. And it'll point the laser over there and you're like, okay, that's where the corner of that wall is. Just use AR, just put on a headset or use a tablet and walk around and say, okay, this is where this digital thing is in the real world. There's 2 big challenges to that we haven't been able to overcome, and we haven't been able to overcome them because of both of them. One is setup. Setup has to be dead simple and repeatable. And then drift. Location and mapping is not at a location. The stuff that Dana's talking about is fantastic. You can go out there, you can point a tablet or goggles and look at something. If it's off by an inch, nobody cares. We're off by an inch, the plumbing doesn't fit in the wall, right? So it is important that it is spot on. It is super simple to set up, and that drift makes it challenging to use for real world scenarios over time. We can do really quick check. You can take your tablet, you can set it up, you can look up and be like, yep, we're supposed to have a duct right here, and look, we have a duct right here. That's amazing. Is that duct within an inch? I don't know, but we've done some really cool things. Flown a drone, we can get a really accurate point cloud. We bring that back in, overlay that with our digital assets and say, okay, is that pipe in the right place? And we can feel pretty confident that within a couple centimeters, we're in the right place. And so I think, eventually we're going to get there. We just can't get there right now in real time with augmented reality the way it sits because of those 2 problems combining against each other.
Okay. So you guys are aware, one of the things I'm going to start doing is I'm riding the audio here loud in Pravella when you're talking. One, dealing with technical difficulties and technology. With that said, I know there was some questions going on in the audience here. So if you want to ask your question in a microphone, perfect time to call you for this one, isn't it? There we go. We got a question in the audience here. We'll let you ask your question. I'm going to throw one question while we're getting to that. I'll let you both answer this. You kind of alluded to it already, but this question came from one of the other presenters we were actually going to have show up today, but he spoke a lot about the challenges of augmented reality, specifically on the site, exactly speaking to what you were talking to, which is that the vision isn't there and definitely doesn't match with the ease of use. But the one thing that he said would be a really big benefit is the ability to track what has happened in a job site in real time. I'll get back to this. We'll let our live question ask first, but then I do want to ping all 3 presenters on that. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Alejandro. And first off, I want to say, Matt. First question I want to throw 2. One to Doug. First one. A lot of these hang-ups that you're speaking would be here remedied if we see culture in terms of having the ability of like you tackle these problems on a mass scale. So if you made these readily available for every child, every youth to learn and problem solve, overcome that other off within 12, 18 months in curriculum.
Obviously, I think we got into this assuming a lot because we like solving problems. different problems, yeah, and so yes, the more people trying to solve problems, obviously you're going to get more people solving problems. So yes, the more you can flood education to have people tackle this, 100%, it's going to get solved easier.
More of a, sorry. For the people in the virtual space, want to speak up?
Yep.
So is it something more of we should reach out to our elected officials to pivot towards this? All industries?
Yeah, I think that's private enterprise is going to solve that problem. Wherever there's a problem, there's a dollar sign after the problem.
Sorry. For Thomas, I just want to ask one question in terms of delivery on the common man will encounter and produce and deliver, whereas the industry during and buy, and that's totally changing.
Yeah, so in the context of this conversation, delivery from real engine, the problem you run into is you either have to send an enormous file, deal with mostly with marketing and design, so it's not nowhere near the construction end. So when doing an Unreal Engine project, it's because somebody wants to they want to demonstrate. So for my clients to get to consumer, they can do it one of two ways. They can either use pixel streaming, where the file is hosted in the cloud, and when you log in, you're basically a camera within the file, and you can walk around and explore that scene in real time. There's a latency issue there, which means you can't use it in VR and it could be sick, and it's kind of weird to control. There's a little lag. Sounds like a small problem, but to a client that's sending out mass marketing, that's a deal breaker. The other way to deliver it is to send a huge file, and you don't really know if it's going to work. And for that reason, it's usually used for installs. Like if you go to a sales event and there's a VR headset or there's some kind of thing running that looks like a video game, that's great because it's on site and it's manned and there's somebody showing you. They guide you through it. So Unreal Engine, from that point of view, it's come out of the game industry and it's trying to get a foothold in the design industry, and the way they're doing it is saying, hey, if you make less than $1 million on this project, then it's free. It is an amazing tool, but it's not easy to use. Even coming from a purely 3D background, I haven't even intended to use it because my staff use it. So I can talk to its abilities, its potential, its use cases, etc. The actual nuts and bolts. That's my guy.
All right. So at this point, I'm just going to say we're getting enough problems with Verbella that we are actually just going to end the program for Verbella. At this point, we'll continue it live in here. So, Caroline, do you have any final thoughts?
I guess I do. I apologize if I sounded a little distracted there. I do think that the concept of, as we explore the intersection of AI and AR, I think that will become very, very interesting. And there are a lot of issues at hand, but I do think that the whole concept of people being able to have either clients of architects or people in communities being co-creating these projects in the future is an exciting possibility, at least for me. But I know that there's so many other thoughts that all of us here in Verbella, I'm sure, have. But again, appreciate your bearing with us on this. And thanks. Back to you, Matt.
I was going to give Dana a chance to give a final statement if she wanted to as well, and then we'll cut Verbella out and continue on. Go ahead, Dana. Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. This is relatively new. We've been having very clear discussions with Verbella for several months, but again, I can see the audio signal into Verbella has been bad all day today. Actually, it hasn't been bad until we started the program. It was fine this morning. But Dana, go ahead if you'd like to give a final thought, and then we'll get this solved by next month.
No, nothing more. Thank you again for having me here. Please reach out, one, if you want to bring In-situ to your city, and two, if you're an architect or planner or any person with 3D, we're about to launch our SaaS product, which is licensing our technology to anyone. And we're now in beta phase. It's going to be launched at South by Southwest next month. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you want to join beta or to just know more. And thank you.
And Matt, we will share Dana's contact info to LinkedIn and other channels through the chat here, so people can reach out to her and In-situ.
Excellent. Yeah, so if you go to vrarchicago.com, there is a webpage for this specific event. That should have everybody's social and contact information, so anybody can reach any of the presenters at any time. And Dana, if you are actually launching stuff in the city, we should absolutely talk, so I know what you're doing and then with the right people. But with that, thank you very much to the folks in Virbela. I think Tom is also going to cut the stream, but we'll keep the conversation here live going for a little bit longer, and then we'll get back to some more networking after that. Give me just a second to shut off Virbela. Thanks, Virbela. I'm muting you guys now.
Whew. Wow.
Awful.
Okay, who is just ready to go climb a wall?
Let's do it now.
I know.
That was
And darn
horrible.
it, that was, and that really, for those, and Dana, you haven't, I don't know that you've been in here before, but it actually literally has never happened, and I don't know, it's bizarre.
I'm
but
so sorry. No, I've never
I
tried that
know.
before. Sorry about
I
that.
know.
I think it was good on their end, though, so they could hear you well, Dana. We just couldn't hear them well, I believe.
Oh, yeah.